we are to talk about writing JavaScript libraries. And the goal of this class will be to create your own JavaScript libraries, which are blocks of code or libraries of code that you can reuse. If you've used NPM packages before, that's exactly what we're going to make here. So think about all those NPM packages you install with, NPM install, right? You're going to create your own packages, you're going to upload them to NPM, and then people will be able to download them. And we'll talk about unit tests and continuous integration and some other things along the way. And then we'll also do a lot of JavaScript. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder here. Actually, I'm going to create it on the desktop here. And the first library that we create is going to be a string library. So I'm going to call this stringlib. You can call it any name you want, right? And then I'll open this up in VS Studio. So I've opened it in Visual Studio Code here. And there's nothing in here yet. So let's make a new file. So our first file here is going to be index.js. And we'll write all of our developer source code in this file, okay? The second thing we need is we're going to upload this to GitHub. So the second thing we need is a README. So let's make a readme.md, and you can put some notes in here. I'll just start with stringlib as the title, and we'll say a JS library for strings. Okay, then you could add some more information there. And hopefully we'll do that when we write some code. We'll have some more things to say about our code, and we can put it in here. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up an NPM package. We're going to turn this whole folder into an NPM package. And to do that, we need to open up the terminal. And you can do it a couple ways. You can open a terminal here in Visual Studio Code, and you can run the terminal down at the bottom here. And then the other thing you can do is you can open up terminal in on the desktop, right? So you can open up the terminal app. I'll use the Visual Studio Code terminal for now. The shortcut for that is Control tilde, right? So you can just remember that. So what we need to do is create a package.json file. So I'm going to type in npm init-y. So npm init will initialize a new npm package. And if you put the -y flag on the end, then it just says yes to all the questions. So if we initialize a new package, it'll ask us a bunch of questions about that package. If I just put -y, it'll just kind of say yes to all the questions and do it all automatically. Oh, great. So I hit return, and I can close the terminal now. And you can see there's my package.json here. Okay, and so the name of the package is stringlib. It's version 1.0.0. The main file is index.js. It's a library for working with strings, right? So, so we're off to a good start. So let's talk about how we're going to work with our code. You're going to write all your developer code here in index.js. And if you want, you can test it in a couple ways. So I'm going to suggest a couple different ways to test this, right? It's because you're running your code. If you don't have any environment to run it in, then it's hard to tell if it's working or not. So one thing you can do is you can write some code here. I'll just write in console.log and say hello world. And if I open up the console again, right? So I just did command or control tilde, or you can go to new terminal here. You can run the code here with node. So you can type in node and then say index.js, and then you can see it prints hello world. Okay, so that might have some limitations, but you can run it in the terminal. And then the other thing you can do is you can use a replit. And I have a replit here that I'll post a link to, and you can test your code here and then run it and see what happens. in the terminal there. And then, if you're happy with the code, you can paste it into here or rewrite it in your index.js. So you can use either one of those. It's kind of cool to be able to just test it here immediately, but then REPL also kind of has some nice little features when you're running it, and it's kind of got a nice little console to work with. So I'll leave it up to you. So anyway, so that'll be the end of this video. That's just kind of a getting started, and then we'll talk about how to solve the string problems in the next video.